Lesson number 97 is all about transversals. And a transversal, we can see, is just a line that intersects two or more other lines. So in the picture that we have here, our orange line, that must be the transversal because it intersects or crosses at least two other lines. Please pause the video now to make sure you've got this in your notes. Let's move on to our first question. Transversal W intersects parallel lines X and Y. So we can see that here. We've got transversal W and it's going to intersect our lines. Let's name these lines. We're told that they're called X and Y. It doesn't matter which one's X or Y. X could be on top or the bottom. So the first question we have is to name the pairs of corresponding angles. Now our angles, they're all labeled up here as A, because that would be angle A facing outwards, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. And what we need to do is name the pairs of corresponding angles. Now corresponding, well, corresponding angles are always in the same position. So if they're in the same position, that means we're going to have to look at both our X and our Y line compared to our transversal W. So our first pair of corresponding angles must be angle A and angle E because they're in the same position on the parallel lines in relation to our transversal W. A and E because they're both facing outwards and to the left. So the way we'd write that would be A, angle A, so the symbol for an angle, and angle E. Now we're going to erase that because we're going to use this picture some more. Whoops, we're going to have to erase angle A and angle E. We can rewrite that. Very good. So again, it was angle A and angle E first. Another pair of corresponding angles. Well, another pair would be B and F because they both face up and to the right. Angle B and angle F. Another one must be angle D and angle H because they both point down and to the left. Box this so it looks a little bit less like our angle positions. And then finally, angle C and angle G, because they both point down and to the right. Alright, we've answered our first question. That's all we need to do when we name corresponding angles is find which ones point in the same direction, or have the same position. Next we have to name the pairs of alternate interior angles. Now alternate, let's use a different color for this problem. Alternate, that means back and forth. Okay? So we want back and forth, or side to side. An interior, that means on the inside. So we want angles on the inside of our parallel lines in this region that are opposite, or back and forth from each other. So F and D, they must be back and forth from each other. So we'd have angle F and angle D. That's one pair of alternate interior angles because they're across or back and forth from our transversal. And angle E and C. Now we've got our answer. That's all we need to do when we're looking at alternate interior angles. Let's move on to our next example. Our next example is actually using the same picture. And problem C says, name the pairs of alternate exterior angles. So alternate, that means back and forth. Exterior, that means on the outside. So if we're looking on the outside of our parallel lines, we're looking at A and B, and we're looking at H and G. So alternate exterior angles, they're on the outside of our parallel lines, and they're on the opposite side of the transversal. So we could have B and H, Or we could have A and G. Whenever we're talking about angles, you want to make sure you use the angle symbol as well, just like we've done in our first 3 examples. We've got one more question. If angle A has a measure of 115 degrees, and let's write that out here. Angle A, that's 115 degrees for this angle. That looks about right because it has to be obtuse, greater than 90, but less than 180. What is the measure of angle E and angle F? Well, angle E is in the same position. Angle A and angle E are corresponding. They both face up and to the left. Since they're both in the same position, they're corresponding, they must have the same measure. So angle E, the measure of angle E is equal to 115 degrees. The M means measure. We've got our angle symbol, and then we've got our label of E is 115 degrees. And next we need the measure, M, of angle F. Angle F, well, angle F is right next to angle E. Now the neat thing here is we've got a straight line with a transversal cutting it. We know a straight line measures 180 degrees. So, if a straight line measures 180 degrees, in order to get F, we're going to have to say 180 minus 115, our other part, to find our answer. Well, let's borrow from the 8 to get 7. 10 minus 5, that's 5. 7 minus 1 is 6. So we've got our answer. We must have 65 degrees. We finished this problem. Using our picture is very helpful as we go through. Lesson practice will be on page 520. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.